Hello YouTube. I got to remember to look up there because you're up on this not big camera, but camera up there. So thanks for tuning in to this video. If you know my studio, you may kind of think, okay, it looks a little bit different now. I've had a bit of a move around. I'm still kind of working on it a little bit, but I'm getting there. But the reason behind doing this is kind of for this new series of videos. It's going to be quite a lengthy series, which is all about me building a new live set. Both in Ableton Live and with the hardware. So up until COVID happened, I was always playing live with, I exclusively used the Deluge, these drum pads, and kind of tinkered about with other synths as well. But very often it was the Deluge, the drum pads, and some kind of 303 machine. So I've been using the Roland one, occasionally used the Behringer one over here. Also use an iPad app as well. Sorry, my chair keeps sinking. I need a new chair, but this one's comfy. I like this one. So the reason I'm kind of wanting to do this differently is it's part of the fact of all the live streaming stuff that's gone off over the last year, because obviously we can't go out and play gigs, and I think that kind of thing is going to be here to stay. So I'm kind of keen to do more gigs, for want of a better term, from here, which means I can use more equipment. But I also, the main reason behind wanting to redo the way I play live is so I can cover a few different scenarios. I've always had this thing in my head that I wanted to be able to play my live set more like a DJ set. So a continual flow of music, which I can do with the Deluge, but one song kind of finishes and it chops straight into the other song. There's no way. I've tried loads of different ways with the Deluge, and you just can't kind of do it like a DJ set. So what I wanted to do was be able to transition from one song to another. So as one song is on its way out, I can bring elements in from the other song, take the elements out of the outgoing song, blend them together, and then have a continual flow of music. So as I say, it's like a DJ set. People aren't entirely sure where one song's finishing and one song is beginning. So that's what I'm working towards, and that's what this series of videos is all going to be about. This is just a quick introduction video, and I'm going to go really in depth with everything of how I've got it set up. How I've got it set up so far. It's still a work in process, and it's still changing almost on a daily basis. But I'm going to kind of let you know where I'm at with it now, and then as I improve it, if necessary, I will show you the changes. And also, if anybody's got any tips, and things that they may say, well, I do my live set like this, and you think that might help with my live set, then all open for that. I'm all in, for getting some advice from other people out there. So this did start off as quite a simple little live setup, and it's got more and more complicated over the last few weeks. So I thought I'm at the stage now where I probably will start this video series and see where it goes. So over this side of the studio is kind of my live rig now. Obviously, I'm still using this side for writing and also for some jams and that sort of thing. And everything is all connected, so I can still use all of this side from this side. But this is what I would take out if I was playing live. So let's just go through the hardware that I would take with me. Again, this is going to go kind of like in two different ways. If I was playing a very short set, let's say at some like little open mic thing somewhere, I would probably still play the way I was previously, which is the Deluge, the drum pads, and some sort of 303. With that setup, I can set my stuff up within 5 minutes and I'm ready to play. Because often I'm a big part of the electronic open mic movement that's kind of like taken over a lot in the UK, but around the world as well. And I'm very involved in the Nottingham one. We had just set up one in Derby, but then COVID came and we never got that off up and running. So hopefully that will be something that will be coming up shortly. But for something like that, if you're playing a short set at something like that, you've got like 15 minutes set, and that usually includes your setting up and packing away time. So for something like that, I would want to be very, very quick, not a lot of gear, bang, play my set, and then be done and out. And then you can spend more time at the bar, which is always good. I'm watching the other acts, obviously. If I was playing something longer, 30, 40 minutes and above, kind of like a bigger festival or that kind of thing, this is then the rig that I would take out. I've always tried to steer clear of playing with a laptop, but to be able to do what I want to do with like playing sort of kind of like a DJ type set, it's unavoidable. It's got to be done. So it's going to be with Ableton Live, but the computer's kind of not really featuring in the hardware anywhere. The computer is off to the side. So this is kind of what you see on stage. The computer can be under the table or whatever. It doesn't particularly matter. So what I'm using first of all to kind of control what's happening in Ableton Live is going to be my iPad. And I'm using an app called Touchable, which you may have heard of. Basically turns your iPad into a full Ableton Live controller. It's kind of like Push, but with bells and whistles. The reason I'm using that rather than using Push, which I notice I've got a Push here, is because you'll see when I show the Ableton set shortly, I need to be able to see the names of all the clips when I'm launching them, which you can't do off Push. Obviously, I could look at the screen, but then it's looking at the screen, looking at that. And the one thing I'm trying to avoid is looking at a laptop screen. So that's why I'm using Touchable. So I'll go through all of this in full detail in all the videos that are coming up in this series. There's going to be, I think I've done a quick plan out. There's going to be about 10 videos to start with, and there may be even more than that. So this is going to develop over the next few months. So yeah, iPad is going to be controlling Ableton Live. We've then got, just in terms of hardware that I've kind of started off, that I thought I would take out with me. I've got the Roland TB-03, because obviously the acid sound is a big part of my sound. I kind of felt like I wanted a drum machine with me. Don't know why. So I've gone with the Behringer RD8 that I've had for getting on for a year or so now. It's a great sounding drum machine. The reason I wanted to use a drum machine was I wanted a consistent kick drum sound throughout the whole set. My kick drums vary very slightly on my productions, but I just kind of felt, I don't know, it just made it a little bit easier and to get it to flow a little bit more if I had the same kick. And I just think they basically the 808 kick sound in here just flows really nicely through all my tracks. So, and that's going to give me that nice consistent volume of kick as well, because when I've mastered my tracks, some might be slightly louder than others, and you get these variances in the volumes on the kick. So doing it this way, I can keep that constant kick going all the way through. So at the moment, I'm mostly just using that for the kick, which is quite a big piece of gear for one kick drum, but it gives me the option to program extra drum fills, hi-hats, claps, and that kind of thing on the fly whilst I'm playing live. So that's something I'm kind of working towards. We've then got the MX1. I had toyed with the idea of getting a different sound card and mixer. Then I thought, what's the point? The MX1 does everything. So it's because it's a great sound card. And I've got some MIDI mapping going off in there as well, and some MIDI routing and USB stuff and everything. So that's kind of like the central brain of everything in terms of mixer and sound card at the same time. I then got these Yamaha drum pads that I play a lot of stuff on live. So I've got this and then the mini log that I play keyboards on live. So part of the thing when I'm playing live is I want to be able to look like I'm, sorry, you're going to lose my head now. I don't want to just be launching clips. I want to actually be playing stuff. So very often, a lot of the songs will have me playing live drums because I'm actually a drummer. That is my main kind of line of work. But then I'll be playing keyboard parts as well. So as I perform live, it's a mixture of drumming, playing keyboards, launching clips, knob twiddling, programming stuff live, and so on. So it keeps it interesting for me. Hopefully it keeps it interesting for the viewer. And yeah, it's not just me staring at a laptop screen, pressing buttons. I want it to feel like a live performance. The other thing I was trying to achieve with this is, so I've got complete flexibility over my songs. So I've not got to play them exactly how I wrote them. If I just switch over to the Ableton Live set, and I'll just talk you very quickly through this. And then, like I say, I'm going to go through all of this in great detail in all of the separate videos. When I play with the Deluge, mostly how that works is I will sort of have the backing track and I will take the bits out of that I would play live. So whether that's drumming, some keyboard parts or whatever. So when I do it that way, I'm kind of limited to, well, not with all the songs because there are ways of doing it, but with a lot of times it's just kind of like playing it how I wrote it. That works with some songs. If I've got a very specific song structure that's a 3 or 4 minute song with the vocals, if I've worked with a vocalist, I may still play it that way. But with a lot of my songs, it's kind of like very groove based and the instrumental stuff, and that works really well at being able to do really short versions or really long versions of it. So what I do is I break my tracks down and then put them in almost like you would use hot cues on a DJ controller, so I can skip to different parts of the song, so I can keep one section of a song going a lot longer than I originally wrote it. I can make it shorter. I can bring other tracks in, other tracks out. It gives me complete flexibility. means it's slightly different every time I play live. So it's something specific for that gig and that performance, which I kind of really like the idea behind that it's completely different. Again, it keeps it keeps it interesting for me as well as the listener. So if you came to see me 3 nights in a row, you're not going to see the same set every time. It's going to be slightly different. Also, the way I've got this set up, it gives me complete flexibility to play my tracks in any order. Okay, so I've got total flexibility over everything. So if I just look down at the, I'll quickly go through this setup that we've got here. So I've got this Group A, Group B, which is kind of like Deck A and Deck B, and they contain the same clip headings, which is clap, hi-hat, percussion, bass, synth, lead / vocals, and effects. And I've got the same thing in here. So this is like my DJ Deck A and Deck B. So this is where all my songs will live, okay, in these 2 bits. So see, I've got about 4 tracks in here at the moment, and I'm going to go through in the next, I've got 4 tracks in there. And the next video, I'm going to go through how I prepare my tracks. That's going to be the first thing, and how I get them into Ableton Live. So yeah, this is where all the songs sit, and I have kind of like, basically it's the stems from my songs, and then I've chosen bits of the songs that I want to play. This will all make sense when I start the series in full. Okay, I'm just going to give you an overview for this one. So that's Deck A and Deck B. I've then got a MIDI track here. So this is sending out MIDI to the 303. So that gives me then the option to obviously to then change all the filter and the resonance and so on whilst I'm playing live. So I was doing it that way rather than relying on remembering which sequence I've got on here. So everything is coming from Ableton Live. I'm doing the same thing. So this is basically just MIDI. That's just like a 4 to the floor kick drum at the moment, which is going out to the Behringer drum machine. So that's for the kick. Okay, I'm going to go through all of this. The one that says sample, this is where all the samples live that I play over on the drum pads, and they change for each song. So I've got this set up that I don't need to change anything on the drum pads. It's all done for me via a clip launch in Ableton Live. So what I have is an instrument rack with various drum racks in there, and then there will be a clip in here. So for example, all of these are all the same ones, but using the chain selector, that will then select for me the specific set of samples that I want that I've played in on here. Again, this is probably like totally confusing the hell out of you, but it will all make sense if you stick with this series. The next track is for the mini log, and that is just sending out these clips here. These are just blank dummy MIDI clips, but it's sending out, if we look down here, program change messages. So again, I don't need to fiddle about with anything on the mini log. Once that clip is launched, when I start that track, it automatically changes it to the correct sound on the mini log, so I'm not going to worry about that. And then the last section, which is loops, I've got 4 in here at the moment. These are kind of extra elements that I can use to remix the tracks, use for transitions, various other things. In the same way as a DJ might have a few loops that they put over songs, this is what I've got here at the moment. I've got a snare fill, I've got a clap loop, I've got a shaker loop, and I've got a ride loop. Again, this is probably going to develop on quite a bit. I may well put more loops, etc. in there. So the way these work is, these are constantly playing. Okay, so when the thing starts, my set starts, they're already playing. I then control them with some faders off the MX1, so I can bring those in and out as I want during the set. And that's kind of basically the quick overview of where I'm at with it at the moment. So it's a nice combination of software and hardware. I've got a few teething problems to start off with. Certainly getting the Touchable app to constantly work. I've got it via a USB cable, but it's a little bit iffy. So I've got to work on some stuff with that. But that's kind of like the part of this video series, to show you the problems that I come up with and hopefully how I find a solution to them. So it's going to kind of be part tutorial series, part video diary. As I change things, I will show you. And hopefully by the end, I will do a nice long performance of everything and show you how it's all done. So that is it. That is the overview. So keep an eye out for all these videos appearing. I'm going to try and get them out probably fortnightly, because I've got to try and find the time to record all these. Certainly fortnightly is a minimum, maybe weekly. The other thing I will do is for my Patreon subscribers, and I will probably make this available to every tier on my Patreon, which starts at $1 or £1 or €1 a month. I will share the live set as it develops. I won't necessarily have all my songs in there, but this template, I will probably put a couple of tracks in there so you've got them. But I will share this template so you can see how it's all put together, and you may be able to make some use of it. So that's going to be available to my Patreon subscribers. There will be a link to that in the description. There's also an information card will pop up about that. Obviously, the routing and sound card things will be different, but at least you've got that set if you wish to go down a route similar to this. So if you've got any questions or comments in the meantime, then stick those in the box below. If not, keep an eye out for the next video. So if you hit subscribe, hit that bell button, you'll get a notification when I upload the next video. I'm getting neck ache, so I'm going to shut up talking. Stupid place for a camera, but you can see everything in the studio nicely. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next part, where we're going to go from taking a finished produced track and then show you how I get it to this state in here. Okay, so that's coming up in the first video. Keep an eye out for that. I'll see you in that one. Bye.